The moment Marcus Chen walked into Romano's, the city's most exclusive Italian restaurant, he knew he'd made a terrible mistake. Around him, his borrowed suit jacket hung slightly too loose on his janitor's frame. Mergers over wine. That cost more than his monthly rent. But he'd promised his sister he'd try this blind date thing. And Marcus Chen never broke a promise. What he didn't know was that across the restaurant, behind a menu she wasn't really reading, sat Vanessa Morrison, CEO of Morrison Technologies, Forbes 30 under 30, and the most sought-after bachelorette in Chicago's business world. She was also on a blind date, set up by her well-meaning assistant who insisted she needed a real connection, not another corporate climber. Vanessa had agreed to 30 minutes. That was it. Marcus checked his phone again. Table 12, his sister had texted. He scanned the numbers on the tables, squinting in the dim lighting. There, table 12 by the window, a woman sat alone scrolling through her phone, her dark hair catching the candlelight. His heart hammered as he approached. "Hi," he said, sliding into the seat. "Sorry I'm late. The bus took forever, and then I had to—" She looked up, and Marcus forgot how to breathe. She was beautiful, yes, but it was her eyes that caught him. Intelligent, assessing, and currently widening with what might have been surprise. "You're not what I expected," Vanessa said slowly, taking in his worn jacket and nervous smile. Her actual blind date, some venture capitalist her assistant had vetted, was supposed to arrive in 15 minutes at table 21. But something about this man's genuine nervousness was refreshing. "Yeah, I get that a lot," Marcus laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I clean offices for a living. Not exactly blind date material, right? But my sister insisted, and when Rosa insists, you don't argue. She's been through a lot, cancer treatment, lost her job, and she worries about me being alone. So here I am, probably sitting at the wrong table in life, but trying anyway." Vanessa's professional mask slipped. She'd expected rehearsed charm, carefully crafted ambition. Instead, she got raw honesty. "Tell me about your sister," she found herself saying, and Marcus did. He told her about Rosa raising him after their parents died, about working 3 jobs to pay for her treatments, about how she still made him lunch every morning, even though her hands shook from the chemo. He talked about the people he met during his night shifts, the lonely accountant who stayed late to avoid going home, the young programmer who slept under his desk because he couldn't afford rent and tuition. "I know it sounds stupid," Marcus said, "but I try to leave little notes sometimes. You know, you're doing great, or someone believes in you. I figure everyone's fighting battles nobody sees." Vanessa felt something crack in her chest. She'd spent 10 years building an empire, measuring success in quarterly reports and stock prices. When had she last thought about the invisible people who kept her world running? "That's not stupid," she said quietly. "That's extraordinary." They talked for an hour, then 2. Marcus made her laugh with stories about finding a executive's toupee in a filing cabinet and the office, birthday cake hidden in a supply closet. She found herself sharing things she never told anyone, the pressure of being a woman CEO at 28, the loneliness at the top, how she couldn't remember the last time someone asked, how she was without wanting something. "My turn for a confession," Vanessa said, her 3rd glass of wine making her bold. "I'm supposed to be on a blind date, too. Different table. Different guy. But I'm so glad I'm here instead." Marcus's eyes widened. "Wait, I'm at the wrong table?" "I think you're at exactly the right table," Vanessa said, and meant it. That's when her phone buzzed. Her actual blind date had arrived at table 21 and was texting her. Assistant, confused. Reality crashed back in. "I should probably—" Vanessa gestured vaguely. "Yeah," Marcus said, disappointment flooding his features. "Of course. This was really nice." Vanessa stood, then hesitated. The smart play was to walk away, meet the appropriate match, protect her carefully constructed world. But nothing about tonight had been smart, and that was precisely why it mattered. "Or," she said, sitting back down, "I could text him that something came up. Because I'd rather be at the wrong table with the right person than the other way around." Marcus's smile could have powered the entire city. "There's something I need to tell you first," Vanessa said. "I haven't been entirely honest about who I am. Before she could continue, a commotion erupted near the entrance. A woman in a hospital gown stumbled in, wild-eyed and frantic. Marcus jumped up immediately. "Rosa?" He rushed to her side. "What are you doing here?" "You're supposed to be resting." "I couldn't remember," Rosa gasped, tears streaming down her face. "The table number. I texted you 12, but it's 21. And then I got scared you'd be waiting at the wrong table. Disappointed again, and I couldn't—" Hey, Marcus soothed, wrapping his sister in his arms. "It's okay. Everything's okay." Vanessa watched this janitor hold his trembling sister, watched him whisper reassurances and stroke her hair, and felt her heart make a decision her head would never have approved. She approached them slowly. "Rosa," she said gently, "I'm Vanessa, and your brother did sit at the wrong table, but it turned out to be exactly where he needed to be." 3 weeks later, Vanessa stood in the conference room of Morrison Technologies, addressing her executive team. "I'm implementing a new program," she announced. "Full healthcare coverage for all contract workers, including janitorial staff. Fair wages, educational stipends, and a recognition system. Because the people who keep our buildings running deserve to be seen." Her CFO opened his mouth to protest the cost, then caught the look on her face and wisely closed it. That evening, she met Marcus after his shift. He was still in his work uniform, still smelling faintly of industrial cleaner, and when he smiled at her, Vanessa knew she'd made the right choice every single time. "My executives think I've lost my mind," she told him as they walked through the city. "Have you?" Marcus asked, taking her hand. "Completely," Vanessa laughed. "Turns out sitting at the wrong table was the best mistake I ever made." 6 months later, Rosa stood as maid of honor at their wedding. Healthy and teary-eyed, the guest list was unusual. CEOs and janitors, tech moguls and bus drivers, all the invisible people Marcus had left notes for over the years. They'd all come to celebrate the janitor, who sat at the wrong table, and the CEO who couldn't stop smiling at him. Because sometimes the best love stories begin with mistakes, with wrong turns that lead us exactly where we belong. Sometimes the person who changes your life isn't who you expected, who you planned for, or who looks right on paper. Sometimes they're just someone brave enough to sit down, honest enough to be themselves, and kind enough to remind you that humanity matters more than hierarchy. And sometimes the wrong table is precisely right.